Hi, my name's Kiefer. Welcome back to Pangaean Illustration. So, what are you watching today? You're watching me draw a bunch of Sith. So, last week you saw me draw 4 Jedi, so Yoda, Anakin, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. I know that's by no means all of the Jedi we see in the Star Wars films, but those are the ones that I felt most relevant drawing during that video. There will be more, but that's for a later video. This time we're drawing Sith. I won't tell you exactly who I'm drawing, but you might get the hang of it as the video goes on. Starting off with Anakin's alter ego Darth Vader, and we'll go from there. If you like the drawings, if you like the video, please like, comment and subscribe, but for now, let's go get to the drawings. So the last video ended with Anakin, so let's start this one with his alter ego. And I've got to admit, while I like this drawing, it isn't the favourite of the video. I just thought, well, why not? It just makes sense to start with this one, with them being the first Sith we actually see in the movies. I've got to say this was definitely harder than the other drawings, mainly because there's a lot more detail to him. Now, you wouldn't think that, considering he has got a relatively simple design for the mask and stuff, but it comes with the mechanical segments on his suit, his breathing apparatus, and yeah, it was just a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. Darth Vader is honestly one of my favourite characters from the Star Wars franchise, just as a whole. But this was... It's weird. A lot of these characters, they're the first time I'm drawing them, and I never actually realised how hard of a character it would be for me to draw Darth Vader. But I'm just blabbering on because I don't know what to say about this. I like how it turned out. It's probably the most realistic looking of the drawings I did, but is by no means my favourite drawing. I just felt it was one that needed doing for this selection, and was actually the second drawing I did of the batch. I hope you like it. I hope I did Darth Vader justice, but at the end of the day, this is my first time drawing him, and I'm still learning my style, so let me know what you think. Without further ado, let's go on to the next drawing. So next we have Darth Tyrannus, who is probably the least Sith looking Sith of this batch of drawings. But I do know why that is. It's because the character isn't meant to have taken on the dark side to embrace it, but rather they just didn't like the views of the Jedi and how they dealt with things. So this is probably the most accurate thing to a dark version of a Jedi. At least that's what I'd say. I really liked the character in the films. I am not sure on his Clone Wars design. Like, it makes sense, but kind of defeats the purpose of him being... Yeah, he just looks too inherently evil in the cartoon to be a Jedi turned bad. I'm probably going to get so much hate for saying that, but oh well. with this drawing, I tried to go a similar route as I did with the other Jedi drawings, rather than making it an inherently Sith-esque drawing. So I added the lighter background, and yeah, it was hard to stylize this, but I think I did it okay. I like how it turned out. It's by no means my favourite, but is definitely up there as being one of my okay drawings. What I found interesting doing this is how much of the character is actually shrouded in black and darkness, and it's weird because I've never worked with this much black, but with my style, I thought I was using too much black to actually give off a coherent design. That's a regular occurrence within these drawings. They are just covered in black, and I am making these look better than my own drawings, and it's helping me to learn my own process as well. That's a weird thing to say when I'm drawing something that is not inherently something I would usually do. But that's enough about that. Let's get on to the next one. I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing Darth Maul. I am. So, the thing with Darth Maul is they are essentially the character that got me hooked on Star Wars. I know that's probably a weird thing to say considering he played a somewhat minimal role in the first of the prequels, but it was a big enough impression and a really cool design that it just made me want to watch more of the franchise. I'm glad to see that they brought him back in Clone Wars and in Rebels and quite a lot of the media. But what's even better, and I'm really looking forward to this, is the new Darth Maul show, Maul Shadow Lord, which it looks like it's a similar style to Clone Wars, which, as you know, I love that style. It was a bit difficult to draw this one, I suppose, because, well, like with a lot of the other drawings, there is a lot of black line work and blocking out. But what made this extra difficult is all the tattoo painted-esque skin that Darth Maul has. I know it's the natural patterns of his species, of his people, but from a drawing perspective, it made it difficult to know what to actually block out. And this was one of those cases where I kind of just ended up having to block everything out in black and then draw over the line work to get the effect that I wanted. Unlike the other drawings, I actually took the pose from a comic rather than an actual photo, because Darth Maul just feels like one of those characters that you can get more of an impression of from his other media, considering how minimal his appearances are in the films. Now, I'm pretty sure any Star Wars fan has realised why I've picked these three characters. And no, it's not just because they're the ones that show in the films, otherwise I would have done Kylo Ren. Despite the fact I absolutely hate the Disney add-ons to the main story, I don't know why the cunts just left it as it was. But my idea was to draw all of the apprentices of Darth Sidious. And what better way to end the video than drawing Darth Sidious? It's quite as simple as that. I wanted to complete this block of drawings by drawing the man himself, the one who turned Anakin, the one who sent Darth Maul to kill Qui-Gon, and just the man who had control of both sides of the war and ended up on top. I mean, come on. For a villain, he is a good villain. I know he isn't the face of the Sith for a lot of the original movies, but he plays a much bigger role in the prequels as Palpatine, and I don't know. What I like about this drawing is, like what I've said about the others, there is a lot of blacking out, but more so with Darth Sidious's design, because he's meant to be surrounded in shadow. He's meant to be a mysterious character. At least in the prequels, that's what I've took from it. But that also made it really simple to draw in comparison to some of the others, because there's limited detail and he is human, but also not. The wrinkles and his physiology just makes it that much more fun to draw, and it took a lot less time because I didn't feel like I had to get it right. I could just make it look how I wanted to make it look. Yes, it is a base pose, but I'm going for realism from the films, and I just think this one's great, not to toot my own horn. Anyway, that's the last of the drawings. Let's go off and finish this video. So, you've seen the drawings, you've seen the time lapses, and you've heard a bit of what I think of each of the drawings. Honestly, my favourite probably is the Darth Sidious, just because it took the least amount of time and is relatively simple compared to the others. But you already know that because I've said that during the time lapses. If you want to see more like this, make sure to follow, and if not, what am you still doing here? I'll see you in the next video next week, and for now, see ya.